From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Inside Politics.
Hello, everyone. I'm News Channel 5's political analyst Pat Nolan. Welcome to Inside Politics. As we enter the final weekend before next Tuesday's presidential election, we bring in two of our best political experts to give us their best thoughts about what lies ahead in an election many consider to be the most consequential of our lifetime. Joining us this weekend on Inside Politics is Republican consultant Deborah Maggot and Democratic consultant Carol Andrew Brown. Ladies, thank you both for taking time to join out to be with us again.
Thank you.
Let's begin with what I just said in my opening, that a lot of people consider this coming Tuesday's election to be the most consequential of our lifetime. For both of you, do you agree with that statement, and why is this election so important? Carol, let's start with you.
Wow. I'm telling my age here, but I've been voting now for 40 years in presidential elections, and I'll have to say, I thought probably every one was the most consequential, but this beats them all hands down. I mean, this really is for what Vice President Biden would say, the soul of our nation. We have a president who is just he's just rudderless. He's driven us into driven the economy into the ditch simply because he didn't handle COVID. You know, he said to Bob Woodward, didn't want to panic anybody. Guess what? Everybody was panicked anyway. And it's best to be honest with the American people. We can take it. We've always taken it when you're honest with us. So I'm hoping for a rout on Tuesday so we can get this country back on track. We've got to take care of COVID. That's the way to take care of our health and our economy, get back to some normalcy, and make sure that we restore our standing on the global scale.
Deborah, what are your thoughts?
I think this is an opportunity for the American people to decide if they are for freedom or if they're for a Trojan horse candidate who is going to bring a more progressive flavor to our country that I really think the American people are going to reject on Tuesday. You know, the president has worked hard to try to get us out of this rut with COVID, and yesterday's numbers with the economy proved once again that he is the person to get that job, to get us back on track. He's worked hard to get the vaccine in place so we can get COVID behind us. And I think the American people are going to show us on Tuesday that they want to continue with Donald Trump.
Most polling, not all polling, shows that Democrat Joe Biden is still holding a high single-digit lead across the country in the popular vote. The race is much closer in the battleground states, which is, of course, where we decide the election in the Electoral College. Deborah, how accurate or inaccurate are those polls?
Well, that's hard to say. You know, last time the polls said he was only going to get 8% of the vote, and he won. I think people are very skittish about polling. I don't think polling is the same anymore. You know, people don't answer their cell phones. Most people have a cell phone, and it's hard for pollsters to contact people nowadays. I also know from our own work here in our state, some people are not comfortable anymore explaining to a pollster how they're gonna vote. So I don't know. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic about Tuesday, but I'm not sure where it's going to land with all this polling.
Deborah, 4 years ago, the polls were a little bit wrong because Hillary Clinton lost some upper Midwest states that turned the election over to Donald Trump. Again, there's talk this year of shy Trump voters. Some polling groups, including the Trafalgar Group, which is a Republican-leading group, says that Donald Trump's even got more shy voters out there than he had before. But I'm also hearing talk about shy Biden voters, people who are Republicans who are voting a Democrat for the first time in their life, but they don't want anybody to know that. What are your thoughts? Are these polls accurate?
Well, at the beginning of October, I was a member of the mighty American Strike Force team, and they sent me into another state to door knock. And here's what happened to me. People would whisper to me, hey, I'm going to vote for him. I'm for Donald Trump, but I don't want people to know because I'm afraid of retaliation. I'm afraid I'll lose my job. I'm afraid somebody will, key my car. And we're hearing that from all of our teams all over the country. That's reports are coming back from Pennsylvania, from North Carolina, from Michigan, that people are for Trump, but they don't want to share that information because of they're afraid someone will do something to them.
Carol, what are your thoughts? Are there too many shy Trump voters for Biden to win, and are there a bunch of shy Biden voters because the Republicans, they don't want anybody to know they're going to vote for a Democrat?
Well, I've been seeing many Republicans telling me, and I've been seeing it, on accounts of social media and stuff. And they're like, we just got it wrong last time, and we've got to get it right. So I don't think they're that shy about it when it comes to voting for Biden. And I do not see shyness among Trump voters like I did 4 years ago. They are out loud and very vocal, vociferous in my neck of the woods. And talking about retaliation, the Democrats here are cowed because of the violence that we've seen toward us. And I have a colleague in a neighboring county who is a staunch Democrat, everybody knows it, but he has had death threats from people he knows who are what I would call a Trumper this year. So I wish everybody would just simmer down and acknowledge everybody's right to have an opinion and not be violent about it on either side.
One thing that definitely has happened, we see all these voters in long lines. We see record voting for both early voting and also for absentee by mail voting. To both of you, why is this happening, and does it benefit anybody? Carol, let's start with you this time.
Oh, well, I think fear and anger are prime motivators for voters to turn out, and I've seen that during my career. I just heard a noise, I'm sorry. Fear and motive, can I say that again? Can you guys edit this out? I hope. Fear and anger are great motivators and for turnout, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing first-time voters register. I helped a neighbor to register, voting for the first time. She's 39 years old, simply because she wanted to vote against Trump. She's neither party, but she just wanted to vote against Trump. So I'm seeing that a lot.
Deborah, there's not much drama in Tennessee. Everybody knows that Tennessee is going to be a Trump state, yet we see big long lines here. What's that all about, and what do you think about it nationally? What does long lines mean? Does that mean trouble for the Republicans, or are those the shy Trump voters coming out?
I think we'll know more this weekend because a lot of states have ended their early voting like we did yesterday. But I think here in Tennessee, you're going to see, just as you said, it's going to remain a red state. I think it's a great thing that people are voting. I think that's wonderful that everyone's exercising their franchise. But I do think that on our side, at least, I think people are very afraid of a Biden-Harris administration. They're afraid of what this could mean for the country. So I think that there's a lot of enthusiasm for Donald Trump. I do believe that there's a silent majority also that are afraid to let people know, because we have seen these spontaneous boat parades, car parades, golf cart parades, motorcycle parades pop up all over the country, and in states where you wouldn't think it would happen, like in California. It's been happening in Los Angeles. So I do think there's a real divide about where people want this country to go. And unfortunately, I feel like the Democrats have gotten away from the way they used to be, and they're more left, they're more progressive, and I think it frightens the average American.
Deborah Maggott, Republican consultant, and Carol Brown Andrews, our Democratic consultant, are our guests on Inside Politics. Back to continue our conversation about these final days of the presidential election after this break.
This is a